learn tonight. And really, what I want to share with y'all is a concept that's called the infinite banking concept. And some of y'all may have heard about this before, but maybe it's never been explained to you in this way. And some of y'all, maybe this is the first time you're ever hearing about this. And I'm about to challenge your conventional thinking when it comes to your money. Because here's the thing. You guys are really great at making your money. You're great at making it, but you suck at keeping it. So I just want to show you how to keep the money that you're already making. I don't want you to work any harder, take on any additional risk, or lose control of your cash. All we're going to change and learn about is where the money goes first. Where should we be storing our money at? Because my mentor, all right, his name is R. Nelson Nash, and I'll introduce you here to Nelson Nash here in a moment. But Nelson would always say that you want to be in two businesses in your life. The first business is the one that you're passionate about. It gets you up out of bed every single day, supports the family, supports the livelihood. But the second business is the banking business, the business that finances everything throughout your life. And that's what we're going to be getting in here today is that banking business. So, as I mentioned, my company, The Money Multiplier, based down here in Florida, and you got my contact info there on the screen as well, my cell phone number, email, and then our website, themoneymultiplier.com. So, before we get into it, who am I? Hey, I'm Hannah. I'm actually a Midwestern girl. So I grew up in Kansas City and moved down here to Florida back in 2019. But I want to share a little bit about my family's background of how we got introduced to this concept because I'm telling you, we were not in this world whatsoever. So you see this bald-headed guy right up here on the screen? That's my dad. And his name is Brent Kessler. And dad is actually a chiropractor. So when we were living in Kansas City, dad had 5 clinics in the Kansas City area. And that was my first ever job when I was 14. I was the front desk, the CA at one of his chiropractic offices. But I will say I got fired a little bit after that. But we can have that conversation at another time. But dad, when he was a chiropractor, this was back in 2006, and Pops was at a chiropractic convention, and there was a gentleman up on stage teaching about this banking concept. And dad, he was sitting in the audience. He has his arms crossed like this, and he goes, "Man, that stuff looks really, really good, but it kind of looks just too good to be true." Have you ever seen something like that? Something too good to be true? So, what dad did is he bought Nelson's book here, this black book. He bought this book, he went home, he set it on the shelf, and he didn't do anything with this information. 2 years later, 2008, he went back to that same chiropractic convention and he was greeted by about 10 or 12 of his colleagues who were coming up to him, hooting and hollering about this banking concept. They're like, "Brent, isn't this concept so cool? I'm able to pay off my debt, pay the salaries of my key employees, finance for the adjustment tables in my office, and I'm able to recycle and recapture all of that money that I spent back to myself." And that's when dad was like, "All right, there's got to be something to this. I mean, no way 10 or 12 of my closest colleagues could be lying to me about this stuff. I mean, maybe one or two of them, but no way 10 or 12." So that's when my family took action, was back in 2008. And at that time, Pops had almost $1 million of debt. And by implementing this concept, he was able to pay off that debt in 39 months, 3 years and 3 months. He didn't work any harder. He didn't open the office for longer hours or treat more patients. Again, he just changed where his dollars were going first. So, and then I got involved when I was 18 years old and really have been expanding from there. So that's how we got started. And then I also really want y'all to know this other gentleman up on the screen, Nelson Nash. So Nelson, he's not the inventor of this concept. He is really just the gentleman that brought this concept to the public's eye. Because, y'all, this becoming your own banker stuff, I mean, it's been around longer than our tax code's even been here. And our tax code's only been here since 1913. So this stuff's not on trial, it's not being tested. It's really been around since the beginning of our time here in America. But I want y'all to know where all of this information is coming from. So, this black book, Becoming Your Own Banker, I highly, highly recommend you add this to your wealth building library. So, you can purchase it from us at the Money Multiplier, but to be honest, I'm not in the book selling business. Go to Amazon or wherever you purchase your books at. But I want y'all to know just where all of this information is coming from. And if you got a little ADD like myself, it also comes with 2 hours of audio. So I do like the audio, highly recommend. All right, but just so you know where all of this is stemming from. Now, here's my little gift to y'all. This is a book that actually my father and my business partner, Chris Noggle, wrote together called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. This is kind of a spin-off of what Nelson teaches in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. But my gift, y'all, if you just send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com, I'll send you a copy of this book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. So take advantage of that, get the book, and also too, Chris Noggle, Naugle, you can see his name right up here on the screen. Go look up his YouTube channel. He's always posting stuff on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platform that you like, and talking about this concept as well. So go and see what he's posting about and give him a follow too. All right, y'all. Well, let's be totally clear about what we're here talking about tonight. Money, 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 money. Some people got to have it. Hey, hey, hey. So money's what we're here. Now, in order for us to have this conversation around money, we have to agree on the definition of money. So if I were to ask you what is the definition of money, what would you tell me? And normally, when I'm traveling around and I'm teaching on this, I get a lot of good answers back from the audience. But here's all that money is. Money is nothing more than a means of exchange, is it not? That's all we do with money all day long is we exchange it for the goods, the products, the services that we're buying in life. Money for food, food for money, money for car, car for money, money for house, house for money, right? That's all that money is. So, for the next 6.5 hours that I have your attention here tonight, can we agree that that's going to be our definition of money? Okay. Now, this concept that I'm going to share, it is totally outside the box thinking. It is not what your parents are doing, your colleagues, your friends, your grandparents are doing with their money. So we are going to have some uncomfortable conversations and we're going to start to have some paradigm shifts here together. Now, because of my time here tonight, I'm not going to play this video, but here's a little bit of homework that I want y'all to do. If you go to YouTube and you look up the backwards bicycle on YouTube, it's about a 7.5 minute video. I like to play this just because it gets our minds geared into being open and receptive to new ideas, new ideology. So when you go home and you study this stuff in nauseating detail tonight, play a short snippet of this video so you know you're on the right video.
Hey, it's me, Destin. Welcome back to Smarter Every Day.
All right. Now, there's a man by the name of Will Rogers. You know what Will Rogers says? He says the problem in America isn't so much what people don't know, it's what people think they know that just ain't so. So, again, a lot of the things that we've been taught about money, dollars, and wealth may not actually be the truth. So I ask again, just keep an open mind as I go through this and please write your questions down. I am going to try to save enough time at the end of this to do some Q&A, but I'll also give you my cell phone number or my email. We can have those one-on-one conversations together. But write your questions down. Don't just try to keep them up here because you're going to forget them. My dad has always taught me a short pencil is better than a long memory. So write them down because I want to make sure that I answer all of them. All right, we're going to be getting into how does your money flow and the method to get all the money back. Before I get done here tonight, I'm going to show you how to get all the money back for just the cars that you're buying for yourself and your family. And so what I mean by that is let's make believe this is a $20,000 bill. And normally, how you buy your cars is you'll take this $20,000 bill down to the car salesman, you hand them the money, they hand you the car, and then everybody walks away. The transaction's done. But how I buy my cars is I take this $20,000 bill, hand it over to the car dealership. But now I have a system in place to get all of my $20,000 back to me. And y'all, I just use cars when I'm teaching on this because we just all get cars, right? Everybody's either bought in a car, driven a car, or ridden in a car. So we all just kind of understand cars. But it's not just for our cars. I do this with my taxes I pay. I do this with my investments. I do this with my vacations that I buy for myself. It's anything and everything in life that you're buying. You can truly get all of that money back for it. So that's coming in later. All right, we're going to talk about the mysteries of money, the machine. What is the machine that we're using to build our wealth? The mission and the marathon. I'm telling y'all right now, this is not a get rich quick kind of deal. This is a marathon. This is a lifestyle, a process that you're adding into your financial life. We're going to talk about the millionaire and then the movement. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. You see that there's three calculators up here on the screen. We are going to make believe that you're in the market and you want to go buy yourself a car. And right now, down at your local bank, inside of your savings account, you have $25,000 and we're going to make believe that you found a really, really good bank, and this bank is going to pay you 4% on your money. Okay, I know they may not be paying you 4%, but there's a method to my madness here, so just follow me. So we're going to make believe that you found a really, really good bank, and this bank is paying you 4%. So you walk into the bank, and let's make believe I'm your bank teller. You walk into the bank and you say, Banker Hannah, I want to take out that 25,000 that's earning me 4% interest, and I want to go pay cash for my car. And y'all kind of tend to bump up your chest like that. I want to go pay cash for this car. Y'all love paying cash for things. You think when you pay cash for stuff, you don't got to pay any payments and you don't got to pay any interest. But is that the truth? Ponder on it. We'll come back to it. So you walk in and you say, Banker Hannah, I want to take out that 25,000 that's earning me 4% and I want to go pay cash for this car. And I turn to you and I say, no, no, no. Instead, how about I make you a loan for 25,000? I'm going to loan you the 25,000 and I'm going to charge you 6% interest. Okay, if I were to take out that loan of 25, how long is it going to normally take me to pay off that loan? 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? Let's just say 5 years or 60 months. Instead, how about you take my loan of 25,000? I'm going to charge you 6% interest. And over the same equal time period of 5 years or 60 months, our bank is going to pay you more money on the 25 that you're earning at 4 than you'll pay us on the 25 that's being charged at 6. Is that a true statement? So, in other words, can I make money earning at 4% at the same time I'm paying 6%? Well, I mean, my simple mind is thinking, well, no, because 4 minus 6 equals -2. As us Gen Zers say, that math ain't mathin'. But the banker told you the truth, and I want to walk through it. If you take out that loan of 25 at 6% interest, your monthly payment's 483.32 a month. Take the 483 times the 60 months, you just paid 28,999 for the car. So 25 in principal, about $4,000 in interest. Over the same time period in your savings account over the 5 years, Your balance is now 30,525. So here's my question. Is this 30,000? Is this a larger number than the 28,999? Or do y'all do math differently than what I do over here in Daytona Beach, Florida? I mean, it's a larger number. But how is it a larger number? Because I thought if I was earning four and paying six, I'm losing some. I'll tell you what's going on. Inside of your savings account, this is on an increasing scale. This is going up each and every month. While your payments and your loan balance, this is going down every single month. So one's going down, the other one's going up, but our minds are just not programmed to think this way. And y'all, it's just math, okay? On my podcast show, the Money Multiplier podcast, I did a live episode where I ran the numbers on earning at 10% at the same time I was paying 20%, and I still came out on top earning 10 at the same time I was paying 20. We got to start learning how money actually works. See, the thing is, people love to get hung up on rate, rate, rate. Oh, I have the cheapest interest rate, the lowest interest rate. No, it's not the rate that's killing you. It's the volume of the interest that you're sending out the door to other people. That's where your leaky bucket is at. So let's move on because I told you there was a method to my madness. Let's talk about the machine. The machine that we're using to build our wealth. Drum roll, please. The machine, a whole life insurance policy with a mutually owned company that pays dividends. Now, I can see all of your faces right now, and I get it. Before you run out of the room and you vomit on me, you're thinking to yourself, Hannah, I know everything there is to know about whole life insurance. Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, they told me whole life is the worst place to invest my money. I get. See, my dad was a Dave Ramsey's baby step follower. Do you get why it took him 2 years to even believe or start this stuff? But here's my question. Why whole life? Why would we even want to use whole life to build our wealth? And again, there's a lot of good reasons, but here's the number one reason. This is what the elite and the wealthy are doing. The number one purchasers of whole life insurance in the world are conventional banks. Banks actually own more in whole life insurance than all of their land and their buildings combined. And a matter of fact, since 2013, banks have even quadrupled in their portfolio of how much whole life insurance they actually own. And no, they're not buying IULs, VULs, EIEIOULs. It's whole life insurance. And it's like, why? Are these banks stupid? Or are they doing something the rest of us just don't know about? They're probably doing something. And don't just take my flab and gums for this. Go and research something called BOLI, BOLI. It stands for Bank Owned Life Insurance. And you can look up the hundreds of pages that come up of how much whole life insurance these banks actually own. But I want to be specifically clear here because this is not just that traditional whole life policy that you can go and buy off the shelf from your brother in law that sells life insurance. We all got a brother in law that sells life insurance, do we not? No, it's not just that traditional whole life. It has to be designed specifically for high immediate cash value. So, what I mean by that is when I place my premium deposit into this policy, immediately, my definition of immediately is within 30 days. There's cash value in there that you can start using the cash value. So it's got to be designed specifically for high immediate cash value. Now, let me go back for a second because why was my 4 and 6% important? Inside of your policy, you get a guaranteed interest rate. I'm not even going to talk about the dividends. You get a guaranteed interest rate inside of that policy. And the interest rate that the insurance company will charge you to take out your policy loan is 6%. So can I make money earning 4 at the same time I'm paying 6? Yes. All right, let's move on to I'm going to skip through some stuff just because of my time here today. But hey, I will show you how you can go back and rewatch all of this, even the parts that I skipped over, okay? But I want to talk about how banks work. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. How does your bank work? Now, it doesn't matter where we're at. We could be right here in my hometown. We could be in New York City, Austin, Texas, Vancouver, Canada. I don't care. This is how your bank works. You deposit money into this bank. And let's just make believe it's $100,000. I don't want you to get hung up on the number. What I want you to really grasp is that this is your money. You deposit money into the bank. And we're going to make believe that we found a good bank again, and this bank is going to pay us 4% on our money. When you deposit money into the bank, that deposit is now a liability to the bank. Why? Because they have to pay you interest on it. So, how does this bank turn the liability into an asset? They loan it, right? Banks are in the lending business. They loan it back out to you or me or other people. Who's ever gone down to the bank, asked to borrow money to purchase a house? Let's call it 7%. Bank issues us the loan. We go have the new mortgage, move into the new house. And then what do we got to do? I got to pay the bank back. I got to pay them back with interest because if I don't, they're going to come and foreclose on me. So money goes back into the bank. What about a new car? Let's call it 8%. Bank issues us the loan. We go buy the sexy new automobile. And then we got to pay them back. We got to pay them back with interest. If not, we're going to hear that beep, beep, beep as the tow truck is coming and towing it off the driveway. So money goes back into the bank. Let's do a home remodel. Granite countertops, new swimming pool in the backyard. Bank issues us the loan. We go pay off all the contractors. Money goes back into the bank. I hope y'all see what's going on here. All banks do is they're moving money in, they're moving it out. They're moving it in, they're moving it out, they're moving it right back in again. Lastly, let's just do a debt consolidation. Go pay off all the credit cards. Let's call it 12%. Bank issues a loan, we go pay them all off. Money goes back into the bank. All right, I know it's late on a Tuesday evening, and math is not everybody's favorite subject, but we're going to do a little bit of math. And I promise I'm going to, because here's what I want to know. I want to know how well did we do compared to how well the bank did. Because remember, we found a really good bank and we're making 4% over here. So in the first transaction of the house, bank made 7, we made 4. 7 minus 4 equals 3. I told you it's going to be easy. And the car transaction, bank made 8, we made 4. 8 minus 4 equals 4. And the home remodel, they made 9, we made 4. 9 minus 4 equals 5. And then debt consolidation, they made 12, we made 4. 12 minus 4 equals 8. That was normally the hardest one. But if you add them all up, the bank made 20% and we made 4%. So how much better did the bank do than us? You may be thinking, well, 16%, Hannah, right? 16%? How about 500% better than us? Because doesn't 4 go into 25 times? Banks are making no less than 400% annually on the money that you leave there with them. Again, don't just take my words for it. Go and look up BauerFinancial.com, BAUER, BauerFinancial.com. You can look up the big banks that we all know the names of or your small hometown banks, and you can actually go find their annual reports. And I challenge y'all to do this. I mean, seriously, myself and my father, we've been traveling around, dad since 2012 teaching on this stuff. And I ask every single audience to show me and find me a bank that makes less than 400% annually. And if you do, you owe it to me to call me up and tell me because I'll change my presentation slide and I'll give you the credit for it. But it hasn't happened yet. But if you kind of think about it, it makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense. Now, I do agree the interest rate is going to offset the risk to the bank. But if you're too risky of a borrower, anyways, is that bank even going to issue you the loan? No. Here's what I'm saying, y'all. You guys are doing this in your life, anyways. You're buying houses, you're buying cars, you're doing home remodels, and you're using credit cards. So, why don't you just be the banker in your own life and you make that 500% annually on yourself rather than the bankers making a good living off of you? Because, seriously, what risk did the bank take in doing all of this? Not a lot, because whose money are they using? Y'all, and think about it too. All right. I don't care where we're at in this world, in this country, we can call it. When you come into a town, there's a main intersection of that town and four corners on that intersection. Name me one of the buildings on the four corners. No, it's not Starbucks. It's a bank. And our banks on the rundown landscaping, bad architecture. Nah, man, they're like the nicest buildings in town. And a matter of fact, sometimes once you walk into banks, don't they kind of give you some stuff? Oh, like those dumb suckers that are sitting there on the counter? That's a little ironic. Matter of fact, some of my clients will even send me text message pictures sometimes when they're at the bank. They're like, Hannah, you're right. I'm thinking about you. Look at these dumb suckers that are sitting there on the counter. Even at my bank over here in Florida, if you go in there on a certain day of the week, they'll actually give you wine. They'll give you wine if you go in there on a certain day of the week. So that's why you get me today and not my dad, because dad went to the bank 7 times yesterday, and so he's in bed a little hungover. I'm just kidding. Don't tell him I told you that. But it makes sense, does it not? All these bankers are doing is they're using our money, making a good living off of our money. And if you think about it, seriously, why? Why do you keep money at the bank? Oh, I don't know, Hannah, because that's just where they keep the money at. Why do you keep your money underneath your mattress or digging a hole in your backyard? Well, I don't know, Hannah. I just wanted to keep it around, keep it safe with me. But obviously, I don't really want to do that because then I'm losing money due to the hidden tax that's called inflation. So I could do that. Or I could go store my money with my financial advisor who thinks they can manage my money better than I can. And have you ever noticed the only time that you lose money is when you give up that control to somebody else? Just want y'all to start thinking about what's really going on. But I get it. You're thinking, Hannah, I've never known of another way. I didn't know you could do something else that's different. So I just want y'all to see really what's going on and what even these commercial banks are doing. So there's your resource, bowerfinancial.com. Okay, go look up that and look up their annual reports there. All right, I'm going to skip through the annual pattern of spending for tonight. I'm going to get into the fun stuff. I want to show you how to get all the money back for your cars. Okay, let's do a quick recap. What is the machine? The machine that we're using, a whole life insurance policy, a whole life policy with a mutually owned insurance company. So in these policies, there's premiums. Think of my premiums. They are my deposits into my private bank. Okay, here's where the paradigm shift starts to happen, y'all. Your premiums equal your deposits. Why do I call them deposits? Well, because if I put money into an account that I own, I control, and I have immediate access to the cash value, is it treated more as a payment or a deposit? I think it's a deposit. What word y'all like better, payment or deposit? So there's premium deposits that go into the policy. Now, also, there's age and death benefit on the policy. Okay. It's life insurance at the end of the day. There's age and death benefit. I'm going to blow it up for y'all. You'll notice that age and death benefit are grayed out. Why are they grayed out? Because they do not matter. Oof. I just hit a chord with some of my analytical folks here. And if I don't talk about age and death benefit, you're not going to hear anything that I say moving forward. So let's talk about age and death benefit. We'll walk through it quickly, okay? Let's say that I have three individuals, age 20, 40, 60. They're all in the same equal health, and they have this $20 bill in their pocket. 20, 40, and 60-year-old. They all walk into the grocery store. Who between them is going to be able to buy the most amount of groceries with their 20 bucks? All of them, right? Doesn't matter how good you look, how bad you smell, the color of your skin, the language that you speak. I mean, same 20 bucks is going to buy you the same amount of groceries. Now let's take the same three people, 20, 40, 60-year-old, all in the same equal health, $20 bill in their pocket. We walk across the street to the life insurance store. Who between them is going to be able to buy the most amount of death benefit with their 20 bucks? The younger one, right? That just makes sense. But I'm not here talking about death benefit. I'm here talking about the cash and the cash value that's available in this policy. And I really want to drive this one home because I'm going to get done here and somebody's going to come up to me and say, Hannah, this was really cool, powerful stuff, but I'm just too old to do this. No, you're not. Just because you're older means you're going to have a lesser death benefit compared to somebody like me who's in their 20s. But if we put the same amount of premium cash in our policies, our cash value is going to be the same. Starting on the left-hand side, this is just time. Year 1 to 8, year 9 to 13. Then you have your premium deposits. In this example, he goes, okay, I know that I'm worth 10,000 a year or 835 bucks a month. This is a number that he chose. You get to decide how much you want to put inside of your policy. If 10,000 is too large of a number, shave off a zero, do 1,000. If 10,000 is too easy, add a zero, do 100,000. I don't care. You decide what you want to do inside of your policy. When I was 18 years old and I started my first policy, I was still a waitress at Cracker Barrel. Do you think I had $10,000 to put into a stupid life insurance policy? No. So I did 400 bucks a month. That's where I started. I was saving $100 a week and that's 400 a month. And so dad goes, okay, start your first policy, 400 bucks a month. And that's where I started at. So again, you get to decide how much you want to put in. Here, he chose 10,000 a year. Now, in year 4, we're in the market. We want to go buy ourselves a car. Here's another little nugget. I would never have you wait to the 4th year to start using the cash that's available in your policy because how soon did I say cash value becomes available to you? Immediately within 30 days. But just to isolate the car purchase for learning purposes here, year 4, we're going to go buy ourselves a car. $25,000 car. Where do we pull the 25,000 from? We pull it from the cash value that's inside of our policy. We take out the 25, we walk down to the car dealership, we hand over the money, they give us the car. Everybody walks away. This is where most people stop. What we're going to do is because you borrowed from your own bank, don't you think it's a good idea that you should pay yourself back and charge yourself some interest? Yes, Hannah, that sounds like a great idea. But do y'all ever do it? No. If you're going to borrow from your own bank, pay yourself back and charge yourself interest. Treat your money just how you treat the banker's money. If you don't, all you're saying is the banker's money is more valuable than your money, and that's just not the truth. So we're going to practice the same principles and habits with our own bank. Okay, if I took out this 25, I'm going to pay myself back 500 a month or 6,000 a year over the next 5 years. So they put back a total of 30 for the car. The 25 in principal, 5,000 in interest. So let's see what happened here from year 1 to year 8. They put in 70,000 as their premium deposits plus the 30,000 for the car purchase. So 100,000 has gone in. But we did take out 25 to purchase the car. So 100,000 went in, we took out 25. 100 minus 25 is 75,000. Yet I'm sitting here in year 8 with 73,226 as cash value in my policy. My net injection is 75, and I'm sitting here with 73 and some change as cash value. If you take that 73 and divide it into 75, you just got back 97 cents for every dollar that you spent on that car. Wait, Hannah, hold on. I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting it. How is the money still growing even though I've taken it out and I'm using it? All right, now's your big aha moment. So if you've been sleeping, now it's time to wake up. Here's what's happening. Traditionally, let's make believe this $25,000 bill was inside of your checking account down at the bank. And you withdrew the 25,000 from your checking account to go pay cash for the car. Okay, you've accomplished the goal of buying the car, but guess what you no longer have? You no longer have your 25,000. You have to go out there, work for it, earn it somehow to get your 25 back inside of your pocket, earning you interest again. When you add the additional step of running the money through the policy first, you are not withdrawing the 25,000. No, no, no. You are taking out a policy loan. What that means is you're putting your policy, the death benefit, up for collateral, and you're taking a loan from the general funds of the insurance company. So you're using their 25,000 in the real world, and that's how and why your 25 still remains in the policy to grow and compound as if it wasn't even touched. I mean, is that cool or cool? I don't know of another vehicle on the planet that allows me to spend my money, but then save it at the same time. And I don't want to get cheesy on y'all, but do you know a man by the name of Albert Einstein? Says that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. What do you think we've been doing all these years being customers and consumers to banks and other financial institutions? We've been paying out the compound interest. Now I know the game that they're playing. I'm just going to play the game right along there with them. But let's move on because this car is going to wear out on us. Year 9, I'm in the market. I want to go buy myself another $25,000 car. Where do I pull it from? The cash value that's in my policy. Now, at this point, there's no more premiums going into the policy. But I'll tell you this, if you really get this stuff, you'll understand that you want to pay these premiums as much as you can and for as long as you can. I'll say it this way. Have you ever made too many deposits into your bank account? I hope the answer is no. And that's all the premium is, just a deposit into your private bank. But here, no more premiums are going in. So in year 9, I want to buy myself another $25,000 car. I pull it from the cash value that's inside of my policy. Rinse and repeat. Hand over the money. They give me the car. I'm going to be an honest banker. Pay myself back, charge myself interest, 500 a month over the next 5 years. So let's see what happened from year 9 to 13. We put back 30 for the car, for the second car purchase, but we did take out 25 for the car. So we put in 30, we took out 25. Our true net injection is $5,000. Yet I'm sitting here with 95 and some change as cash value in my policy. And is that correct? With the $5,000 net injection, my cash value just grew from 73 to 95. That's a $22,000 growth with the $5,000 net injection. How do you like buying cars my way? Is there anything stupid, ridiculous, or idiotic here that I'm doing? Nah, man. I just bought a stupid life insurance policy and I'm using it to buy my cars. Y'all were gonna go buy the cars anyways, were you not? Here's the big picture, okay? Here's really what I want to look at. Let's see what happened over these 13 years. Because 13 years goes by pretty darn quick, does it not? 13 years ago, I was 13 years old. Oof, that's a little scary. But let's see what happened over these 13 years. You put in 70,000 for your premium deposits. 70 plus 30 for car 1 and another 30 for car 2. So a total of 130,000 has gone into the policy. But you did take out 25 for car 1 and 25 for car 2. So 130 went in, we took out 50. 130 minus 50 is $80,000. $80,000 is your true net injection. And you're sitting here year 13 with 95,000 of cash value in the policy. So you have 95,000 of cash, but guess what else you have? You have a 5-year-old car and a 10-year-old car that's sitting here on the driveway that you can sell, donate, do whatever you want with it. So how much did it really cost me to buy, drive, and own these two cars? I mean, my simple mind is thinking, well, not a lot. If anything, I kind of made a little bit of money by doing this. But I can't sit here and tell you that it cost you nothing because you had to start the system. You had to start the policy. Year one, when they put in their 10,000 of premium, they did not have access to the full 10,000 quite yet. But are you in this for the short term or the long term? You tend to tell me long term, but you get hung up in short term thinking. See, there's actually a book out there. Here's another great resource. It's a quote in a book called The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And in that book, Rick Warren says, life is like a marathon. It doesn't matter how you start, it only matters how you finish. This is the game of life. And that's all I'm doing. Now that I understand what these elite and wealthy families are doing, I'm just going to mimic and play the game right along there with them. Y'all, you guys know Robert Kiyosaki, right? He's famous for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but he also has another book called Second Chance. In that book, Second Chance, Robert Kiyosaki talks about this concept, but y'all read right through it, didn't think a second thing of it because it's never been explained to you this way. Or Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has a book called Money Master the Game. Chapter 5.4 in that book, Tony Robbins talks about the infinite banking concept. But again, it's just never been explained to you this way. Now, there's rules to this, okay? Rule number one, pay yourself first. I know you hear that all the time, but seriously, do you actually do it? Probably not. So if you get nothing else from my spiel here today, pay yourself first. And what I do is when I get money that comes into me, and I don't care how it comes in, okay? I'm an investor. Probably a lot of y'all are investors on this call. It could be my active money. It could be a check in the mail from grandma for my birthday. I don't care. I get money that comes in and I take a sliver of it and I set it to the side. I pay myself first. And in my humble opinion, that's the money that should start going towards your policy as your premiums. So, rule number one, pay yourself first. Rule number two, pay yourself back and charge yourself interest. Treat your money just how you treat the bank's money. If you don't, again, you're just saying that your money is not as valuable as theirs. And then rule number three, recycle and recapture the dollars. Y'all, I just showed this with the car. What if And actually, this was my first ever purchase. When I was 19 years old, I needed a new laptop and I wanted a MacBook computer. All right. What if this instead of $1,000, what if this instead of $10,000 of premium, it was $1,000 of premium, and this was a 2,500 MacBook computer. And then I just started to pay myself back $600 a year. Does the concept still work the same? Yeah, it does, just smaller numbers. What if this is $100,000 premium deposits and this is a $250,000 house? And then now you're just paying yourself back $5,000 a month or $60,000 a year. Does the concept still work the same? Yeah, it's just bigger numbers. Or for my investors, okay, I invest in real estate. As I tell my clients all the time, I'm never going to tell you how to go make your money, how to go invest the money. I mean, sure, if you want to have those buddy conversations, I'll tell you what I'm doing, what's working out for me over here. And I love the lending world. I'm a big private lender on real estate. So let's say, make believe, Kendall calls me up and says, "Hey, Hannah, I need $25,000. I'm about to go do a rehab on this house." Okay, Kendall, I'll loan you the 25. I charge no less than 13% interest and I require no less than the first position on the house, but I'll loan you the money. Where do you think I pull the 25,000 from? I'll pull it from my policy. Then who do you think is paying me back now this 500 a month or 6,000 a year? Kendall's now paying me back. Ooh, that just got real interesting, did it not? I don't care what it is. You are turning every liability into an asset, every depreciating asset into an appreciating asset simply by running it through your own banking system first. This is what's called uninterrupted compounding interest. That's what I'm doing. I'm just getting on the right side of the uninterrupted compounding. All right, there's your three rules again. Pay yourself first, pay yourself with interest, recycle and recapture the money. If it works for a car, what else? Anything in use this for my taxes. I use this for my charitable giving. Oh, by the way, I have a policy that is literally set up underneath my foundation, and that's all I do every single year is I just have a policy that I strictly donate through. Do you get kind of why Nelson calls this the infinite banking concept? Anyways, here's some other resources, okay? So there's that book, Second Chance, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. And here's another good resource. So Larry Steinhaus, maybe some of y'all know him. He's up in the Langhorne, Pennsylvania area, right outside of Philly. In his book, Money Hacks, chapter 13, Larry talks about this. But more importantly, why I like to showcase his book is the subtitle, because everything you think you know about money is wrong. And I just love that. So here's the gist of it, y'all. The infinite banking concept. This is not a product, okay? Everybody wants to get hung up in, oh, it's life insurance, whole life insurance. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, y'all, if I could do the same thing with these jars of water, I'd be hooting and hollering to you about how cool jars of water are to keep my money in the family, recycle and recapture my dollars. But it's not. So it's not about the product. This is the process, how we're utilizing the cash values to buy and finance the things you're already going to go buy. Because you finance every single thing in your life. You either pay cash, thus giving up the interest you could have earned on that money, or you pay out the interest to somebody else, aka bank finance it. And we think that there's no other way to conduct this banking business in our life. So here's a quick T-chart. I'm not going to go through this. You can take a quick picture of it. Again, I'll show you. I can go back and rewatch it as well. I normally have my people like post that up on their fridge because it is, in my opinion, the stuff is not hard. It's just a total 180 thinking of how we've been traditionally taught of how to handle and store our money. So just a reminder, it's really good. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, Hannah, how come I've never heard about this before? You're just a young girl on here flapping her gums. How come I've never heard about this? Oh, well, I'm so glad that you asked. There was an article that was posted on ESPN, and it's dated November 16, 2016. I remember this day because actually Pops and I were in Denver, Colorado, and I was helping him. Back then, I was 16 years old, and I was helping him at that event because I was his AV tech girl, right? And Dad's very deep into the sports world, and I'm over here like, go sports. But this was an article that popped up on ESPN. I remember being in the hotel room at the time. Cash value life insurance makes Harbaugh College football's. Y'all, the University of Michigan is doing this stuff. Disneyland, Walt literally walked into a bank and he says, guys, I got this great idea. It's called Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Will y'all give me a loan? The bankers laughed in his face and said, no, man, we're not going to give you this loan. So, what Walt had to do is he had to provide his own means of financing, and a large portion of this came from collaterally borrowing money from his cash value life insurance policy. Y'all, if Walt never had that policy, who knows if Disneyland would even be here today? Ray Kroc with McDonald's. Ray Kroc partnered with McDonald's brothers in 1955. Kroc did not take salary for the first 8 years, and to help with cash flow, he borrowed money from his two cash value life insurance policies to cover for his key employees. And then he also used some of the money to finance for the advertising campaign that we know of as Ronald McDonald. And speaking of, I haven't seen Ronald McDonald around in quite some time, so I wonder what he's up to nowadays. I think about that sometimes. The pampered chef. Okay, this is one of the most powerful stories. Using $3,000 she borrowed from her life insurance policy, Doris Christopher started the Pampered Chef in her suburban Chicago home. By 2002, the company had grown into a $700 million operation that then was acquired by Warren Buffett for $1.5 billion, billion with a B. And there's so many other stories. Go look up J.C. Penney's, Foster Farms, Stetson University. You can go look into the wealthy families like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays. You can go see how these families built and continue to keep wealth within their family and transferring it on generation after generation. Some of y'all may be on this call and know of a gentleman named Garrett Gunderson. He's a good friend of mine. He has a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? That's another great resource that I would read and get deeper into. Now, everything that I've told y'all up to this point has been fact, but now here's just my opinion. Now that you know this, everybody should be doing it. Because if you're not, you're stealing from yourself, you're stealing from your spouse, your children, and future generations to come because you're letting the money leave the family. Now, I don't know when Warren Buffett said this, but I remember I was about 9 years old when Dad started to bring this around the kitchen table to myself and my brother. Warren Buffett says if poor people would just start doing. And it's like, how much freaking sense does that make, y'all? I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, okay? I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to mimic and imitate what these elite and wealthy people are doing. And I'm just going to copy and follow along. Like I mentioned earlier, this concept's not on trial. It's been around longer than our tax code's been here. And honestly, I think we were better off prior to the tax code because we actually had a surplus in our economy. But I digress. We don't have to get into the creation of the Federal Reserve System. That's another great resource, y'all. If you've ever heard of a book called The Creature of Jekyll Island, all talking about the Fed and that's number one, not so federal. Number two, doesn't have no reserves. But, anyways, I digress. That's why I have my podcast show to rant all day about on. But here's the thing, y'all. One of two things is going to happen to us. We're either going to live or we're going to die. Now, I like to use the word graduate, but y'all can use whatever words you want to use. But if we live, are we better off with or without this? Hopefully, I showed you with. And if we die, pass, or graduate, are beneficiaries better off with or without this? Oh, because yeah, there's a death benefit on the policy. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be a death benefit on there. And it's not an if it happens, it's a when it happens. That money's now going to get paid out lump sum tax free to your beneficiary. So, how much do I even talk about death benefit? Not a lot. How much do I even talk about life insurance? Not a lot. It's just the vehicle that we're using. I'm using it to conduct my banking. Oh, how much did I even talk about that policies are exempt from judgments and liens in most states? Florida being one of them. If you ever get sued, have a judgment or lien against you, or because y'all know Don Pendleton and Kendall here, here's a quote that my father says, and pardon my French, but the higher up your ass is on that flagpole, the bigger the target it becomes. This allows you to protect the liquid capital. Inside of your policies, it's a protected asset. There's a big story. It's not a very nice one, but there's a big one. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in the criminal trial, but he was found guilty in the civil trial for killing the Goldman boy. Did the Goldman family ever get any of O.J.'s money? Nope, because where was O.J.'s money? Inside of his policies. And a matter of fact, he passed away actually in April of 2024. I've been kind of following that story closely because I'm just curious, because now he's passed away, what's going to happen to his estate? You know what I mean? So stay tuned. Still following that. How about the internal values of your policy grow tax free? Y'all, what's our largest eroder of wealth? Taxes. You Californians, I was just out there in LA last week. Y'all pay a lot of money. But the internal values grow tax free. So, because here's what I want to do, I want to pay tax on my money one time only at the lowest rate possible, and then get that money into a tax free environment where now it's growing tax free. The government is out of my hair, and there is no limitations to how I can access my money or when I can access my money. So internal values grow tax free, totally opposite. Because you know what they tell us? You know what they tell you? They tell you, hey, it's okay. Take the tax breaks now. Put all of your money into this 401k because then in the future, when you got to start taking distributions out of it, it'll be fine because you won't be making as much money, so you won't be taxed as much. And my mind over here, I'm thinking, what do you mean I'm not going to be making as much money? I hope to be making the same amount of money, if not more money in the future, especially when you start to calculate in inflation, cost of living. Totally backwards thinking to what the masses and what they're trying to get us to do. Anyways, I digress. And loans on your policy never have to get paid back. Seriously, those loans on your policy never have to be paid back. I'm going to coach you to be an honest banker. You should pay back your policy loan. You should pay yourself back with interest. Your money's going to flow and grow to where it's respected to. So treat your money with that same respect. But is it a requirement that you have to? No, because a loan on the policy is nothing more than a prepayment of your death benefit. If you never pay your cash value loans back, it'll just get subtracted from the death benefit at the time of your passing. Now, this isn't the only reason we are doing this, but maybe one of the reasons why.
I wanna be a billionaire so freaking bad. Buy all of the things I
So y'all, I am done. I hopefully I taught y'all something new. I exposed y'all to something that's different. If you have heard about this, hopefully this was helpful to kind of connect some dots of maybe what you've been learning from other people or on YouTube University is what I like to call it. And if this is something that's new to you, reminder, send me an email. I'll send you our book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. You have my cell phone number here. You can text me, you can call me there. You got my email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And then I would encourage y'all, go back and watch the stuff that I did skip over, because that is some pretty powerful segments as well. And, I got my podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast. I go live on YouTube every Thursday morning. So you can go and find my other channels there. But thank you. I just appreciate being invited on, and hopefully this was helpful and beneficial for y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. Everybody, I love it. If you give her a hands there on the, I guess applause. You got some there. See, you got some emojis there. Look at that. I love it so much. Everything I know about money is wrong. I just learned that's true, Hannah. It's flipped upside down. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's great, actually. Thank you so much, Ed. It's so much fun. I love it. I'm super excited about this strategy. Do you have a few minutes? You want to take a few questions? Can you see those okay?
I can. I even got them pulled up on my side. You just mean go
Great.
at them?
Please, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Leo is asking, you still need to put the 485 a month, don't you? And that 25,000 principal needs to stay there for it to make it 30 at 5 years. What am I missing? So Leo's talking about the car example. So here, hold on. Let's get in here. Let's go back.
Oh no, math. Uh-oh.
Oh wait, my sharing has stopped. Hold on. Let's do this.
Try it again. Yeah, you should be fine. No,
Share.
the math is math, and we had a few questions there. I had someone email some questions in. We had some long questions. I think you answered a lot of them though. But
Good.
the math part, never been good at, but it made sense to me. Super awesome.
So here, just to give you all a visual, you know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
continue to share. Okay, so here's what's happening. This 25,000, this is the insurance company's money, right? So what we're doing is we're using the insurance company's money in the real world, and that's how and why our money is still in the policy growing and compounding. Does that make sense? And I think that's the question that he's asking me, but
Yeah.
Kendall, help me out if I'm
No,
misunderstanding.
I think that's great. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And Leo, please reach out to me directly. I'm happy to go deeper and deeper into it. Cindy is asking, what about commissions and insurance company expenses charged? Now, this is a good question. In the premium, commissions are already in there because no matter who you go to, right? If you go to anybody and get a life insurance policy, somebody's going to get paid a commission, okay? And to be clear too, all right, because I kind of fail at doing this, I'm a little embarrassed to admit because I lead so heavy with the education. People are like, Hannah, this stuff is so cool. Who do I go to get one of these policies? And I'm like, me, pick me. I'm right here. No. But in all seriousness, so that's what my company, the Money Multiplier, we're an independent brokerage, right? So I'm just a life insurance agent. I hold my life insurance license and I work with 6 different insurance companies. But this is all that Pops and I do. We're just 100% the infinite banking concept. So it's just like in the car insurance world, right? You are going to John Smith, your Allstate agent. You write that check to Allstate. Allstate pays John Smith the commission. It's the same thing over here in the life insurance world. The insurance company pays that agent a commission, and it's all already based on that premium that you're depositing into your policy. So, like, what I mean is that they're not going to send you a letter at the end of the year saying, hey, you owe us $500 in admin fees. No. It's already calculated into that premium that you want to do inside of that policy.
That's great. Yeah, everyone's scared to pay commissions, but you know what? Honestly, a lot of the investors we work with, that's just part of the game. You know, unless you want to do it yourself, it just makes sense. And it's pretty simple. The math does math.
And then G, ARCO, is saying, do these policies provide guarantee or variable interest slash growth rates? Let's answer that first. Yes. So in the beginning of my talk, that calculator example, that's why it's so important. The 4%, right? That's what's showing us the guaranteed interest. So we have a guaranteed interest that's inside of that policy. And then we also do get dividends. Okay. I didn't even talk about dividends here tonight, but when you calculate in those dividends, it's even higher than that. Like I can tell you between my 8 policies, let me tell you all this too. This is, people love think this is so fascinating as well. Within our family, we have over 30 policies within the Kessler family banking system. Now, given dad owns about 26 of them of the 30, but I have 8, my younger brother Zach has 3, my older brother Sean has 6. But in those policies, there's a guaranteed interest rate. And last year, between my 8 policies, if I look at the guaranteed plus the dividend, I saw an overall growth of 5.8%. So, kind of what that tells me is that I'm getting my guaranteed interest from that. It's 3.25, 3.25 from the guaranteed side. And then it's about what, like a 2. seven or so that was coming from the dividend side. And that's the only thing, y'all, that can fluctuate in the policy is the dividend. Because high interest rate environments, dividends are going to be higher. Low interest rate environments, they're going to be lower. But no ifs, ands, or buts, they got to give us that guaranteed interest. Okay.
Very
And
cool.
then he's asking, what are the benefits if one were to purchase an income generating rather than a depreciating asset? Oh, gee, yes. So, like, basically, what if I use my policy to go purchase a rental property or go do private lending, go buy gold, silver, whatever it is that you invest in? Yes, I have some videos if you want to reach out to me directly where I show you how I'm using my policies in my investment life. But it's the same thing, right? So kind of how I explained like with Kendall, hey Kendall, if you ask me 25,000 you want to borrow from me, well now Kendall's just the one that's paying me back this 500 a month every single month for the next 5 years, you know? So just high level how that works. G asked, what are the health acceptance requirements and age limits for these policies? So yeah, at the end of the day, it is life insurance, right? And a question I get a lot is, well, Hannah, what I might be uninsurable. Number one, if you're just that average Joe type of person, you'll be fine. You can get approved for a policy. It's more so for my people who are maybe you're type 2 diabetic and your A1C is over level 10, kind of uncontrolled diabetes. Maybe not right now. My older brother, for instance, he was on kidney dialysis for a long, long time and actually got a kidney transplant. No insurance company will touch him right now. So, actually, what he does is he will put policies on other people. He has a wife. He has two kids. He runs a business down in South Florida. He's got employees within his business. He puts those policies on other people that he has an invested interest in. He's the owner of the policy. And so he's able to still conduct the banking function with that policy. It just means that the death benefit is on somebody else. So there's always ways around this, even if you are uninsurable, that you can practice this with the policies. And then just quickly, last thing is just the limits. Age limits on the young side, as long as that child has a social security number, they can qualify for a policy. And then I would say age 80. Age 80 is really when the insurance companies stop handing out whole life policies. Now, real quick, Kendall, I just got to get this off my ADD brain here. There was this one time because we work with a lot of chiropractors, because definitely with pops being in the chiropractic world. But there's a doc out of Minnesota, and he calls dad up from the hospital and says, hey, Brent, my wife just had her baby. We're here at the hospital right now. And dad's like, congrats, doc. What's their name? He goes, no, 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 Brent, I don't want to talk about that. I'm ready to start a policy on them right now. And it's like, hold on, we gotta wait until the social security number comes in through the mail.
Relax. Wow. They got excited. That's good.
So let me turn back on my do not
Start
disturb.
that baby off right. Some of the questions, this will probably cover a lot of them. I
Yep.
know we have a lot of questions, guys, so we may not have time to get to all of them. But it looks like a lot of the questions are, does this work with any life insurance policy?
That's a big one. Yep. So, can you do it? Oh, well, I'll say it this way. Can you do it with any permanent product life insurance? The answer is yeah, I guess you could. Term life insurance, the one that we're all kind of familiar with, term life, no, because term does not build up cash value, okay? But the biggest one is like index universal life, what's also called IULs, or variable universal life, VULs, okay? And can you? Sure. But would I recommend it? No. And here's just my opinion on it. And also in Nelson's book on page 36, he actually gives you his feedback on universal life and using it for the infinite banking concept. But high level, the reason that I don't want to store my wealth there is because those types of policies, number one, they have a renewal cost of insurance. There's a renewal cost of insurance inside of those policy structures. And then on top of that, especially with those IUL products, like the big shiny object that's on the market nowadays that everybody and their mothers like selling, there is a how it grows is that cash account that's invested, okay, invested within the market. And you can kind of think about that IUL policy in layman terms. It's nothing more than a 1 year term insurance where the cash account on the side gets invested. And they can look really good and really sexy for somebody who's young. But if you start to look at those policies in the later stages of life, around the age of 65, 70, 75, look at the guaranteed side of that policy, and you'll notice that the cash value starts going down and the death benefit starts going down. And the reason being is because if you're not making those returns within the market to roll over and pay for the cost of the insurance, what's going to happen is that policy is going to start pulling from the cash account that should be invested to then pay for the cost of the insurance. So, in my opinion, I'll sum it up by this last thing: it's an investment. And my definition of an investment is it involves risk. It can go up in value or it can go down and lose value. And like I said, I'm never going to tell you how to go invest the money. What I'm talking about is where are you storing that money at to protect it, where it's not going to go up and down based on external factors that we cannot dictate, right? I want it to be stored somewhere in boring, guaranteed, tax-free place. And that's why we use whole life because it can never go down, it can never lose value because of that guaranteed interest rate and the guaranteed cost of insurance. Cost of insurance can never go up, it can never go down. It's fixed in cost. So that's my opinion and Nelson Nash's opinion of why we use whole life rather than those index products.
Very cool. I love that answer. And a lot of the questions on here have to do with, should I put all my money, into this policy? The thing is, guys, and Don and I see a lot of these different case studies, estate plans. A lot of the high net worth individuals, well, we talk about diversification, right? This is one part of the strategy, and every single one of them, a lot of them actually have policies just like this, but they also have real estate. They also have other investments, right? So you got to look at the whole picture.
Yes. Yep.
And then I think this will cover about 3 or 4 questions. When you pull the cash out, and you covered this a little bit, there is interest charged when you take a loan out, correct?
Correct. Correct. That's that 6%. And the calculators, that's the importance of the 6%. Now, honestly, y'all, I use 6% when I teach on this. In real life, it's 5%. Now to go a step deeper though, too, okay, and I might be getting too deep into it, but here's something that's really cool and powerful. The policy grows at an uninterrupted compounding, and the loan interest is a simple annual interest. And that's powerful, the difference between the compounding and the simple interest on the loans. But yes, for short answer.
Great. Okay, yeah. And is the interest you earn taxable?
No, tax free.
How about that, guys? Tax-free strategy. Awesome. Okay. Are there any benefits of owning multiple small policies versus one large policy?
Good question. The reason that folks will have multiple policies is because you cannot just go into an existing policy and increase the premium. Okay. You can always decrease the premium, just FYI. You can always go inside your policy, assuming it's structured in this manner for infinite banking. You can always go in there and lower the premium if something happens and you call me up, you're like, "Hannah, I just don't got this money right now." But you cannot increase it. So my story, like just real quick, started my first policy when I was 18, $400 a month. I left Cracker Barrel. Then I was working in this business with Pops. I was working actually on the application team, helping folks get approved for their policies, and my income went up. And I noticed that I was keeping more at the end of the month. I said, "Hey, I want to start doing $800 a month towards a policy." Well, I couldn't just go into that first policy and increase it. So what I did is I opened a second policy, another 400 a month. So then I had a total of 800 monthly cash flow that was going towards policy premium. So that's the reason that you have multiple. Last thing I'll say on that. The only time that I would start multiple policies at the same point in time is if you're trying to put death benefit on multiple bodies, specifically with my spouses, my parents, okay? Let's say it's you and your spouse. If both of y'all don't have death benefit on your bodies, no offense, but death benefit is kind of important. It's the only insurance that's actually guaranteed to happen. Hate to break it to everybody. But yet, y'all will spend buku bucks on all the if insurance, the flood insurance, the fire insurance, the pet insurance, but then you neglect the insurance that's actually guaranteed to happen. That's a little funny. Sorry. But anyway, so
We're all
so
gonna die someday, Hannah.
So that's what they do is that if death benefit is important, split the premium down the middle. So half of the premium on you, half the premium on your spouse, and then now both of y'all got the death benefit on both of your bodies, and then you're just pulling the cash values from two policy locations.
Very cool. Okay. I love it. So, once you set up the policy, what's the soonest you can take a loan from that policy?
Immediately, within 30 days is my definition of immediately.
30 days. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Looks like, um, what's the Gunderson book title?
Yeah, it's not in my studio, it's on my bookshelf in my office, or I would show you, but it's what would the Rockefellers do?
Ooh, that's
What would
cool.
the Rockefellers do? Hey, send me an email. I got the ebook because I actually have a forward in that book. I can send you the ebook version copy if y'all want to.
Yeah, and so Hannah's email's right there on the screen, guys. And a lot of you are asking questions, how to reach out. It's right there on the screen. Write that down. Obviously contact us if you have any questions. I think we're pretty close there. Bryant's asking, is a commission negotiable for policies?
Oh, good question. No, in the life insurance world, it's not. Or I guess I can just speak for like my six companies that we do business with. It's not. It's set by the insurance company.
Okay. All right. Are there any limitations by state?
Limitations by state. No, the only limitation is the judgments. Like California, for instance, if you get sued in the state of California, your policy is not a protected asset. But what you can do is perform a collateral assignment and then it's a protected asset. So that's the only limitation
Ooh,
I'd say.
wow.
Um,
That's ninja. That's pretty cool.
Common law states, maybe I'm getting a little too specific now, but common law states ownership. Your
Right.
spouse does have to sign off on the ownership of that policy to allow you to be the owner if you are in a common law state. That's the only other one I would say.
Makes sense. Okay. And Kathleen asks, the death benefits are projections? She says she's had some projections that have not been realistic in the
Mm,
past.
because it's probably an IUL. That's why. No, so
Exactly.
in whole life, there's the guaranteed side. You can see the guaranteed side of that guaranteed death benefit.
Okay. And
And
Dennis
variable
asks,
life.
yeah,
That's
and most likely. Yeah, because it's variable. Absolutely. When you have fixed rates, it's a different animal.
hmm
So on the math, Dennis says that it has to include the time value of money. Uh, Good job.
Opportunity cost. Yes, my man, you speak my language. That's good.
Yes, that has to make that math. You do have to consider that, I think, with everything. That's a fair question. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I think looks like we got most of them. Do payments stop? Why do you stop payments at 10 years?
Oh, I just did that in our car example just to isolate the purchase of the cars. In real life, you will see that you never want to stop paying premiums. Because here's what I'll say.
Mm,
My my mother's oldest policy just turned 18 years old this past February. And when she put $1 of premium into her policy, the cash grew by $2.49. I mean, I'm not a math genius, but if I put $100 into something, then immediately have access to 250, what's that rate of return? You know what I mean? And I don't know what it's going to be next year in 2027, but I know it's going to be higher than 249 that it grew by this year. Again, uninterrupted compounding, opportunity cost. I kind of forgot the question, but I think that answers it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I love it. It is true. And you have to look at the whole picture, true. Yes, you have to include the time value of money, absolutely. And that's why you look at your picture personally, because there are other investments, you have to diversify a little bit. So I love it.
Hey,
Very,
Kendall,
very good. Yeah,
are you cool if we do this last one because I like this
please,
one from Farhad. Hopefully I'm
please.
pronouncing that correctly. I failed grammar, my friend, so I apologize. Um, single premium policy is what they're asking about. Here's high level. Single premium policy that is going to become a MEC, modified endowment contract right off the bat, aka meaning it's going to be a taxable event. So we don't want just a single premium policy. But I say this because a lot of my investors will call me up and say, Hannah, I have this cash bucket. Let's make believe it's 100 grand. I want to dump this 100 grand into the policy because I understand the importance of doing so. But I know I'm not going to do 100,000 every single year. But I could maybe do 1,000 a month or 12,000 a year for the ongoing premium. So just FYI, there's even ways that you can design a policy year one to do a dump in, and then year two drop it down to a lower ongoing, more comfortable premium amount. And why specifically my investors like those dump ins is I tell you conservatively that you'll have access to 90% of that dump in money immediately. And that's why my real estate investors like it, because as we know, folks are a little scrappy in real estate, right? They're always moving money around. So they'll dump it in, then immediately turn around, take out the 90%, then go fund their next deal. So that was just the last one I wanted to touch on.
90%. That's pretty impressive off the bat. That's amazing. Yeah, it's hard to find things like that. That's awesome. I guess the last question here is, I know we're about short of time here, guys, but Kathleen says, how do you choose insurance companies to work with? You and your team can help them with that, right?
Yes, yeah. No, we can help you with that. Mutually owned companies is what you want. Mutually owned allows you to have access to the cash value immediately and allows you to design the policy this way. I'm telling you right now, don't just try to take this down to your local State Farm guy and say, hey, have you heard about this Nelson Nash guy? Could you do a policy like this for me? I can't tell you how many people call me up and say, man, I got one of these policies, but there's no cash the first year. What happened? Well, your agent didn't design it properly. That's what happened. Anyways.
Yeah, it has to be done the right way. Absolutely. No question. All right, Brian, last question here. Is there a way to receive a policy instead of inheritance from the estate of a parent upon passing?
Yes, 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 yes. We're doing the same thing. Dad owns policies on me. At the end of the day, the contract is done when that insured body passes. Even though my father owns policies on my body, he's the owner, he's using the cash value. When he passes away, that contract is still in force because it's on my body. So now he's able to gift the ownership over to me at that point in the future. So you could give, I don't think there's any greater gift than a parent or a grandparent giving their kids the a mature cash value life insurance policy. But even if you own a policy on your parents, death benefit on the parents, right? There's going to be a tax-free death benefit that gets paid out too.
Guys, you can see why we love this strategy so much because, again, it meets asset protection and tax benefit and estate planning right here, estate planning, and one additional. You also have death benefit. What a cool thing. That's a great strategy. Hannah, thank you so much for your time tonight. This has been fantastic.
No, thank you. I appreciate you, my man.
We've
Let's do
had
it
a
again
lot of fun.
sometime.
Yeah, let's do it again sometime. Really good to see you. Thank you so much for being on. I love this strategy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good night, y'all.
Everybody, thank you for being on. We'll see you again soon. Have a great night.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Don.